Okay, so the aliens, they pretty much own your mind and your brain, at least when you're in the sleep state, sometimes even when you're not in the sleep state, because they've actually spoke through me, so to speak, one time, but it was with my own, my own voice. That was back when I lived in Kansas City, but I can talk about that later. But I'm pretty much talking about dreams and like out-of-body experiences and all that. The aliens are the ones that's doing all that, and they're not tweaking your dreams, they're freaking creating the whole thing. Like, they're not tweaking them. I know they've been creating everything for me in my sleep state, like everything. But yeah, I mean, people, if they started paying attention, they could clearly tell that, they're not creating the dreams for themselves. Their own brain is not creating them. The aliens are creating them for you. Dreams, out-of-body experience. Well, actually, I call them dreams. I have dreams. I have lucid dreams. I have out-of-body experiences. I have virtual reality experiences. I have remote views. And then, of course, I have, like, abductions that are just kind of like mind abductions. Of course, pulled into virtual reality scene or whatever. All of that is done by the aliens, mainly the reptilians. But I'm just going to talk about 4 of these consecutive dreams that I just had. And of course, they personalize everything, for each individual. They personalize the dreams and stuff for each individual, dependent on your reality, So that's why some people, when they explain their experiences, it's like, what the fuck? I can't even... It's hard to know where they're coming from because, their knowledge is different. And the aliens know everything about you. So if their reality is so different than mine, it's kind of like, what? And then, of course, if they're kind of like a foreign person, they're really hard to understand when they try to explain their experiences or whatever. But mine are pretty straightforward, you know what I'm saying? I live a boring life, so, But the aliens, it doesn't matter if you live a boring life. I mean, they still create, still can create awesome dreams and stuff for you based on your boring life. But, yeah, I know what the deal is, too. I kept telling the aliens to check out my implants, man, because, like I said, lately they've been giving me freaking just dreams. And it's like, man, you guys normally give me virtual reality, lucid type of dreams, you know, not just regular freaking dreams. I don't like just regular dreams. They're not as virtual reality feeling. They're not as orderly, trying to remember all the pieces in an orderly fashion once you wake up. And now I know what the deal is. Yeah, my rusty implants, my rusty non-physical implants may be part to blame. And so I told him to check out my implants, man. But then I just realized too that the main thing is they haven't been pulling me out every night. They normally pull me out every night, sometimes many times per night. They pull while I'm awake, right when I lay down, or sometimes even if I'm just laying on the couch. They did it before when I was driving back home from work. They've done it before, where they just pull you out. Like with some kind of technology, they're dipping down in this dimension and pulling me out, my astral body, while I'm awake, right? And normally they do it right when I lay down. It doesn't matter if I'm on the couch at 6 p.m. or right. Normally they do it right when I actually lay down in the bed. You know, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, or whatever. And see, they're using that. They're taking that and see, I forgot about that. See, that's why they haven't been doing that. That's why they've just been giving me dreams, and they've still been awesome, but they're just not as virtual reality like the lucid dreams and the virtual reality experiences and out-of-body experiences. So that's what they need to do, because that's what creates the realistic virtual reality experiences and all that. I mean, because one time I wasn't even asking for this experience, and a reptilian just zoomed into my bedroom ethereally and just boom, stole me. And I was somewhat I wasn't completely awake, but I was still like groggy, and just stole me, and then abducted my astral body basically. And then I did a backflip in the bed, and that's when he made me have sexual relations with this one person I know in California, and it was totally virtual reality. And but like I say, sometimes even if they do it when you're wide awake, if they take your astral body when you're wide awake, they can still totally create at a later time, like 2-3 hours later or 5 hours later, they can create an awesome, you know, virtual reality experience for you, or a lucid dream for you, which is just like virtual reality, except the atmosphere feels different. And you know, and all that. But yeah, see, and that's what they haven't been doing. So no wonder they've just been giving me dreams, which, like I say, they're just not, you know, they're not as fun, they're not as good as the virtual reality experiences and the lucid dreams. But yeah, so these 4 consecutive dreams I just had, it's just obvious that, you know, the reptilians created. Like, the reptilians create most all of my dreams, but sometimes the grays, and sometimes I think it's both. But, okay, so the first, and these were just, I had 3 on one morning, and then the Austin, Texas one was yesterday. No, this morning. The Austin, Texas dream was this morning. The other 3 were yesterday, all in the same morning. But the first one had to do with wait, let me think. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one had to do with my ornate box turtle. And see, now the reptilians stalk me with turtles all the time because they know I have turtles, so they put those in my scenarios all the time. Okay, so he placed, for whatever reason, I took my box turtle, my ornate box turtle. This is all dreams, by the way. Dreams. I took my ornate box turtle into Lowe's. And this is all dream, not 3D. I took my ornate box turtle in a box into Lowe's. And it's like, I guess I was taking him home, but I couldn't keep him in the car because it was too hot. So I brought him in with me, whatever I had to shop for, I'm not sure. But it's like I was back in the warehouse, in the warehouse where the workers worked, and it was just nothing but tall stacks of shelves with merchandise and stuff. And I sat, and I was just kind of looking around, and I set Ortego down on the ground, and he was in a small box. And it was so funny. The reptilians are very animated, and they're very comical. And Ortego, and it was the exact replica of Ortego. I mean, it was him exactly to a T in this dream. And I looked down at Ortego, and he was like being all hyper, almost like a little puppy. He was like darting at the front of the box, and then he turned around, darted at the back of the box, and then he darted to the front of the box, and then he just, bam, he hopped out of it. I mean, he just jumped out of it. I mean, like 8 feet in the air, 12 feet straight ahead. And it was so hilarious because turtles can't really do that in real life. And he just kept, and I was like, shit, I'm never going to find him in this facility because, I mean, he's so little and there's so many damn boxes and shelves. And I just knew I was never going to find him in that warehouse. I mean, it was like he was a wild rat running around, and, you know, like if you let a rat loose in a warehouse like that, yeah, 5 minutes later, you're probably going to have a hard time finding that rat. But yeah, but it was kind of like, it was so funny. But finally, I walked down the aisle at the very, very end, and he was just on the ledge. He was about 4 feet high on the back of the ledge of the shelf, and he was just sitting there. It was so funny, and I grabbed him. But anyway, that was the first dream. And that's the reptilians doing that. Putting that little bit, well, actually, they created the whole dream, but they put funny things in my dreams. And, I mean, that's how you know, when you get to know these beings, it's funny. They do the same stuff all the time. I mean, you know their personality and stuff. Okay, so the second dream, I had 3 on one morning. And the second one was a dark reptilian got to my dream state. And this doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened in a long time. But sometimes they do get to my dream state, but they haven't done it in a long time. But recently, several months ago, a dark one got into right as I got groggy. It put a mean virtual reality, image. That wasn't a dream. That was just a virtual reality image that he popped into a live action, scene that he popped in my vision as I closed my eyes. That wasn't a dream. I had just, like closed my eyes or whatever. But an actual dream, it's been a long time since the dark one has gotten to my dream state. But the second one, me and my mom was at like a gas station, and I was in the garage. It's like I was getting an oil change or something. And my mom was already outside of the garage, I guess, just standing around waiting. And I heard this like in the front of the engine, and I think even the back of the car. And I was in my car. I heard this like, kind of like sizzling, like pop, like pop, sizzling. And I knew that meant the car was about to burst up, in flames. I knew that. But it was just fucking scary. You know what I'm saying? I was scared. I mean, it's really weird. Like, the energy of the dream was not dark, but this whole situation, when I was in the dream, I was freaking, scared. And normally I'm not like scared and stuff in my scenarios. But I was scared because it's like it was popping, and I knew I had to get the fuck out of there. Sure enough, and I finally got out of the car, and I got outside the garage, and it freaking bursted in flames. My fucking car did. And that's a dark one, getting into my dream state. But that doesn't happen very often. Okay, so the third... the third one that day, like yesterday morning or whatever, the third one had to do with I was at the front of Walmart, and this guy I knew, it seemed like it was a guy that was one of my subscribers that I've talked to before. Like, I don't know, it seemed like he was 30 or in his 20s or something. He was in my dream. We both were at the front of Walmart. And it was, in the dream, it felt like a strange Walmart, not like in my town Walmart. And we were at the front of Walmart, and he comes up to me and he's like, look what the aliens did for me. See, with me, they create stuff for me in my backyard on camera. But for this guy, what they did was they created a cheese. The aliens created out of a cheesecake a cross. He's like, look what the aliens did. And it was a cross, but it was cheesecake. And the aliens know I like cheesecake. The reptilians know I like cheesecake. I mean, I don't eat it every day. I don't even eat it once a month, but I do like cheesecake. And I was looking down at it, and it was freaking cheesecake, and it was shaped into a cross. And he was like, look what the aliens did. And I was looking down and I was like, wow. And I wanted to like eat it so bad. I wanted to eat it so bad, but I didn't. And then it morphed into an alien face. It was more like a gray. That's the only way I could describe it. It all of a sudden morphed into a gray face, a gray alien face, but kind of an awkward gray alien face. So that was kind of cool. And the reptilians could still put, religious stuff in your scenarios, crosses, churches, but it's still the reptilians doing it. It's not no angel doing it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, most people, if they have a dream and they're like, oh, I see angels and crosses, chances are it's the reptilians doing it, giving them that dream. But like I say, there's also sweet angelic ETs as well. But I don't even know if a lot of them even have the technology like the reptilians do to know how to do that. I mean, the reptilians put me in churches, and they play beautiful music in the church, but like I say, when I was in the scenario, I know these beings so well, so when I was in the scenario, I knew it was the reptilians giving me that scenario. And then, of course, he got me off, Well, I doubt very seriously a true angel is going to get you off sexually, you know what I'm saying? But the reptilians, oh yeah, they will. I love it. Okay, so the fourth, and I'm not gonna do a whole video about this whole going to Austin, Texas. The other day they took me to West Virginia, and I did type it out and everything. And I'm gonna do a separate video on when they took me to West Virginia via Dream. But yes, this morning they freaking took me to Austin, Texas. They took me to Austin, Texas, and they just put Michael Phelps' mom in it. It was like this woman that I interacted with was Michael Phelps' mom, and like I say, they just showed her on TV, like 2 nights ago or last night or whatever. But this morning, yeah, it's like they were going off that. But I'm not going to try to go through all of that. But they took me to Austin, Texas this morning. And I used to be a dream, and I used to live there, and I used to live right there near downtown on Congress Street, and they put me exactly right there on Congress Street. But anyway, this Michael Phelps' mom was actually the cab driver. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all that, but anyway, she was a cab driver, and she's supposed to take me to work, and the bitch just like hung around the mall, and I'm like, man, I need to get to work, man. Like 10 minutes went by, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm already late for work, like 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all that, but they placed me in Austin, Texas, and did all this long, drawn-out scenario in Austin, Texas this morning. But I am going to talk about a separate video of West Virginia. But the main thing is, they know I like chocolate. The reptilians know I like chocolate, and they know I like Reason chocolates. If I'm at Dollar General store or something, I'll buy a little bag or whatever. But this Reason chocolate, I was walking down the sidewalk, and these people were like giving me bags of chips, like bags of potato chips and stuff, and I looked down, and one of the people, they threw down a perfectly unopened bag of Reasons. It was torn on the edge, but it wasn't completely open. It was torn on the edge, and so I picked it up, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and keep this bag of chocolates because they're not opened at all. They were ripped, but they weren't open. And then it said cherry. It said cherry, and I'm like,